A few days ago, I watched a video by the Anti-Alienation Project called "No One is Helping the Kids Because the Experts Won't Work Together." And in this video, the founder of the Anti-Alienation Project brought up some very important issues. Her name's Madison and McGeehan, and she was talking with Dorcy Pruter in this video, and they both have done a lot of work and bringing awareness to the issue of parental alienation because they're both adult children that were victims of parental alienation. They brought up the fact that the experts that are supposed to be helping children are arguing about whether parental alienation syndrome is really something, and they call those the Gardners, named after Richard Gardner, who came up with the mythology or theory that there's something called parental alienation syndrome. The other side of this is the work of Dr. Craig Childress, and he just takes people through a checklist. And in this checklist, there are a number of symptoms or things that have occurred, and you can use the checklist to make a diagnostic determination of psychological child abuse. And the argument for using this is it's right in the DSM already. There's no need to prove parental alienation syndrome. We just need to prove the outrageous psychological abuse that's being perpetrated on the child. And I would agree with this. Now, I became an attorney after serving as a crisis intervention volunteer. And in order to be a crisis intervention volunteer, I had to do a 68-hour training. And we went into great depth on sexual assault, domestic violence, child abuse, the integration of all, and many of the abuses that a family and the victims within the family experience. And in addition to this, I served on a child abuse prevention council for over 8 years. And this is a collaboration of people from a hospital, the school district, child welfare services, wraparound services, people that could help at-risk families to prevent child abuse. And when I decided to go on to law school and I finish and I get out, I thought I'm going to do a bunch of training so that I can do a deep dive into this issue because I was passionate about it. And to tell you the truth, I was extremely disenchanted with the lack of understanding of the integration of sexual assault, child abuse, and the power and control wheel, domestic violence. And it was just glossed over in some of the trainings that I experienced. So I'm going to go through 5 areas where I think if we could expand on these, it would make all the difference in the world for the true experts on parental alienation. And who are the true experts? The children that lived through it, that have experienced it. They know more about it than anybody else, and they're in the best position to help others. And I will get to what we can do for them later. So the first area is legal. Attorneys and judges are required to do continuing education, but our continuing education is thin. I've read about and seen reports from judges that went through the family law judge boot camps and felt ill prepared to deal with the issues that they were facing. So there is an organization in Reno, Nevada called National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges, and they train judges. This is an excellent and very well regarded institution, and they have a deep understanding of sexual assault and domestic violence, and they actually publish materials that can help victims. And again, if this organization had trainings on parental alienation that they could give to each judge with the checklist, and maybe they're doing this, that would be a huge help. Then we move on to National Association of Counsel for Children, Red Book training. I did the Red Book training and I attended their national conference. The Red Book training goes through important issues having to do with child welfare, including the Indian Child Welfare Act and children in foster care and the rights that they have and how to best advocate for them. But I felt like I didn't see anything when I did the training in 2019, and it would be really helpful to have curriculum expanded in the area of parental alienation. There's an organization called Association of Family and Conciliation Courts, AFCC, and they did a really good white paper. I will put in the links in the description. And it's over 30 pages long. It's volume 33, and it was published in 2021. This paper goes into great detail on how children can come to reject the parents, and it's very well done and written. The next area, number 2, is medical professionals. And medical professionals need awareness of the symptoms that are manifesting for children that are being alienated. And some of these symptoms that I've heard through my work, and I've heard Madison mention in some of her videos and others, are anxiety, irritable bowel syndrome, depression, encopresis, headache, stomach aches, anxiety, cutting, banging the head, other self-harm, substance abuse, and phonic anxiety, like a child actually shaking when they get near their targeted parent. These are all symptoms. So if a medical professional comes across unexplainable symptoms where there's no real logic, it would be really important for them to ask further questions. So just some basic training along with their mandated reporting that every mandated reporter is required to do on parental alienation, because it is a child abuse form, would be really helpful. It's just another front line on discovering and dealing with child abuse. The next one, of course, is therapists. I can't tell you how many therapists I have personally spoke to that know very little of parental alienation. They might have heard of it, but they haven't bothered to read up on it or to know and understand it. And this should be a basic concept. It should be required in the continuing education, and it, of course, should be required in any schooling for any type of social worker, therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist. It's just so important. Every one of the people that provide mental health services should know of this. And fourth is parent training. And I'm not talking about just training the targeted parent, but training the alienating parent, forcing them in a divorce situation to take a parenting class and listen to victims that have been victims of child abuse via parental alienation, so that they can see that the outcome for their kid is not good. Now, there's some people that are generally evil. They're still going to continue this behavior, and that's what the courts are for. But if we can at least put it out there, I'm sure we may persuade some of the alienating parents to stop their behavior and try to undo some of the harm that they've caused. And that's why I started the School of Custody. I want to make a difference for children. I want every parent to know and understand what can occur for your child if you don't stop the alienating behavior. And for the targeted parents, what can you do to mitigate some of the damage that your child's experiencing? And number 5, and this is the most important, child victims need to speak up. They need support. They need resources if they if they need therapy, if they need to go through a program with other survivors, whatever it is, we need to have support for them, because this causes all kinds of pain. It can cause relationship issues, health issues, substance abuse issues. It's not something we can continue to ignore. We have to make a difference. We have to come up with programs to support the adult children, but we also need them to speak up, because with just so few adult children of parental alienation speaking up, it's not enough. There's just not enough of an awareness of the issue. A few other additional steps that I think would be important is children that are still under the jurisdiction of the court, meaning that they're minors, need and deserve a guardian ad litem to advocate for them, but they need them to be specifically trained on every type of child abuse, including child psychological abuse and parental alienation. I just want to say I'm so grateful that people like Dorcy and Madison and also Ryan Thomas have spoke up about their experiences in a very public way to help with the issue. I would encourage any child that has had similar experiences to reach out to them and see what you can do. Can you help? How did you discover it? This is what's going to make a difference for the next generation. Nobody should have to go through this.